Angela Merkel defends Donald Trump against Twitter, and Joe Biden goes against the working classes in America. Hello everyone and welcome to the second video of the day. We've had so many surprising updates. The first video we talked about Boris Johnson banning Chinese imports on the ground of lack of human rights. To this one is a bigger surprise. Angela Merkel has come out to defend President Trump against Twitter's decision to suspend his account permanently. She's now on the side of free speech and the side of rights. Not right in terms of the political spectrum, just right in terms of correct. Her government spokesperson was asked by journalists in Berlin today about her government's views on the big tech and the clampdown on certain accounts of right-wing Twitter accounts, and obviously other companies as well, from Facebook to Apple going after Parler, and they've come out to defend free speech. And they said that the decision is actually counterproductive. So the spokesperson has said that this fundamental right can be intervened in, but according to the law and within the framework defined by legislators, not according to a decision by the management of social media platforms. So this is the spokesperson telling the journalists in Berlin. It continued by saying that seen from this angle, the Chancellor considers it problematic that the accounts of the US president have now been permanently blocked. And so I'm sure you've already heard that not just Twitter, but also Facebook. Well, Zuckerberg decided to ban him on Facebook and Instagram. So I think the only thing he's got left is MySpace. But she's right. And Merkel's government, absolutely right, because I said this in the video that I made yesterday or a couple of days ago on this issue, that there's a difference between social media platforms. If they want to be editorial, or if they want to be a free platform, being a publisher is different to actually having a free platform for people to decide what they say, as long as they don't incite anything physically. And that's why these decisions seem a bit political and biased. It is good, it's welcoming. I mean, I'd always try to be objective. When Merkel and her government do idiotic things with their federalism in Europe, we call them out. And with her decision in 2015 to open the doors in Germany to everyone from the Middle East and North Africa. But when they do good things, you have to praise them. Again, this side of the political spectrum have not been completely perfect. I mean, her party is technically centre-right, I get that. But they still see the US Democrats as their sister party. And the US Democrats don't really care about free speech, don't really care about the rule of law in that sense. There are some good Democrats. There's a difference between liberals and leftists, and I always clarify this on the channel. But this guy, who's supposed to be a moderate, who's supposed to be technically from the right wing of the Democratic Party, and yeah, if this guy is the moderate, then imagine all the others, the Squad and AOC, they're much worse. The Democrats in the last few decades have always claimed to be on the side of ordinary working class and middle class Americans. He just came out to make his speech yesterday, and he said that the priority is no longer working class Americans, the majority of them who just happen to be white. No, they're not the priority. It's everybody else, as long as you're not white.
Our priority will be Black, Latino, Asian, and Native American-owned small businesses, women-owned businesses, and finally having equal access to resources needed to reopen and rebuild. But we're going to make a concerted effort to help small businesses in low-income communities, in big cities, small towns, rural communities that have faced systemic barriers to relief.
I really don't think this is the way you should do politics. This guy is going to be governing the whole country. You're supposed to be the father of the country because you're president. And it's quite concerning. This is exactly what Obama did for 8 years. And then they wondered why all the people, the same white working class Americans from middle America who decided to trust Obama in 2008 and some of them in 2012, they moved and voted for Trump in 2016. Why do you think that happened? Because of the left behind concept that they created, and they just don't really care. Now, a lot has happened in the last week or so, and we have received a lot of questions from the members of the channel. If you want to become a member, check out the link in the description. Join our membership club, you get a lot of perks, including these questions. Let's go to the first question from Kizzy, who talks about, well, it says, "Hi Maya, what is your view on big tech censorship? The right obviously shutting down apps like Parler. Is there a place for free speech and conservative thinking? No, didn't you get the memo? Not anymore." If you're conservative, that means you're radical. It's so radical and cool now to be conservative, apparently. It's very concerning at this point, the way things are going. I think there will be a backlash, and I think there will come a time when the market will speak for itself. And the problem is, they talked about competition. If you don't like Twitter, go to Parler. But now they've removed Parler from the app stores on Google and Apple. You can still technically download Parler manually, but again, that's not what the majority of people are going to do. A lot of people out there, they're not going to go through, let's Google how to, let's search how to download Parler in a different way. Not everyone's going to be tech savvy or even bother doing that. It's a bad situation, and I think there will come a time, I'm optimistic in terms of the cycle that we're going through. Now we're going through the dark phase. Give it time. It will take some time. Might be a battle that will last a decade or so. But the fight back is here for common sense. You don't have to be radical to fight against these people. Maggie says, "Hi Maya, I would like to know why people are being fined for stupid things by the police. We don't know if we're coming or going. I'm disabled and stuck indoors for a year. Now so sick of this mess the government has caused. Why is nobody cares about the border force, helping the illegal migrants?" And so I just mentioned this in the previous video that I just posted about this hypocrisy. And again, the intention that the government had with the lockdown measures, that's a whole separate thing. But the current measures, the way they're being enforced by the police it's just counterproductive, and it's going to bring down public compliance. And they should really review this. There is a question that's going to come up in terms of what the government should do with the policing of these measures, which I'm going to answer in a second. David says, apparently the SNP demanding billions of pounds compensation for Scotland because of Brexit. What is your polite reaction to this demand? Well, I will politely tell the SNP to shut up and go away, because you have no leg to stand on this issue. The party has completely destroyed Scotland on a number of issues. I've mentioned this on this channel a lot. Domestic policies. And ordinary Scottish people are just being left behind. They don't really care about this. All they care about is the fantasyland idea of being an isolated country ruled by Brussels, and instead of being in the Union, in the family of the Union, United Kingdom. No, there's no compensation. Like, just ignore them. Westminster should completely ignore the SNP when they say these sort of things. Scott says, Scott is one of our new members. Welcome as a new member, Scott. Hi, Maya. Do you believe that the far left have now become a more dangerous, dominant force in today's society, taking ideologies to the extreme? Yes, I think this has been happening for the last few decades, slowly. Since the 50s and 60s, the left used the academics and intellectuals to take over a number of areas, from, again, schools, education, to now corporations. The so-called capitalist firms are now woke, and this infiltration started so slowly that no one even noticed. And there was a time when, until the 80s, we still had a lot of people on the right advocating for our values. We had economically, we had people like Milton Friedman, even Hayek was still around 70s, and but now that's stopped. Where is the voice on the right? A lot of contrarians on the right, but it doesn't really mean that we have the army to protect our values. And yes, that right now it's not just the far left; it's actually the center left, even sometimes, some of them who are just condoning these actions, and it's very dangerous for everyone. If you want unity in the West, just in the world, both sides, both extreme sides, should just calm down. Clive says, a question I really need answering, given even by the BBC's existing low standards, they have in the past, past week, surpassed themselves. Do you know what the cancellation numbers are currently, and what kind of number is needed to see the end of them in their current format? Well, yeah, I mean, the situation with the BBC is it's coming to an end, but it's going so slowly at this point, because the government have said that the reforms are coming, but it's not a priority because of lockdown. and the BBC are going to be struggling because there's a lot of new competition, alternative media, also new channels coming on actual TV, on Freeview and Sky, with Ofcom regulated stations like Talk Radio are doing really well. So I think there's a problem for the BBC, both TV and radio, and I think you can see right now in the ratings anyway. I think there is a chance. I think there is a question about the new BBC chairman. I'm going to go there because the plan that could happen internally actually matters. Kaplan, yes, there we go. Says, did you know that the new chairman of the BBC was appointed by Prime Minister, and his name is Richard Sharp? What do you think about this appointment? Yes, we did discuss this a week ago on the channel. The new appointment, Richard Sharp, his background is pretty impressive, and in business, he seems to be a good choice. And he's definitely going to clash with Davey, the head of the BBC, and the director. So I think we really don't know. I don't think we should rely on the BBC chairman or even the director general to do the reforms that we need, because they're not going to completely do it because they're inside. You need the government to do it directly. You need the Department of Culture and Media to actually do this. So we could just be happy that the chairman is slightly better than a number of other options that we had, but still too early to tell. Alan White says, the leader of the opposition is certainly milking the situation. Yes, you're absolutely right. I mean, since the whole thing started in March, it's just been completely all over the place. But today, yesterday actually, I think he made a speech this morning about his views on lockdown and what we should do. He says, just when is he going to start saying something constructive for change? Have you noticed that he started using Union Jack in the background instead of the usual Labour red? Yeah, because he's decided he's getting a lot of advice from Tony Blair, and because he's already said it on TV that he talks to him, and Blair is, I'm guessing, he's behind these suggestions to alienate the hard left in order to get the Liberals on side, the Liberal lefties, and so in the name of kind of using the Union Jack, oh yeah, I still believe in the country. They're doing all this. It makes no sense because the guy doesn't have any ideas and he's got no managerial skills. We don't really know. Back in, was it April, he was asking for an exit strategy from the lockdown. Now he's asking for more, and makes no sense. Teresa says, hello, Maya. How do you imagine in the next 4 years it will be with Biden in charge? Biden has so much to answer for, like hair sniffing. He does have a lot to answer for. Where's the laptop? We're still waiting for the laptop. I think it's going to be an interesting 4 years. It's going to be quite boring in a way, in terms of it's not going to be entertaining. Every time the guy makes a speech, I just fall asleep. His policies are going to be quite damaging. America is already very divided, and this is not the right person to bring America together. We have to wait another 4 years to see what the alternative is going to be, and if the GOP could actually get their act together or not, or if this guy even survives the whole term. We'll wait. Philip Jones says, hi Maya, in a week of constant overreach by the police, do you think the government needs to step in and rein them in with strict guidance on their powers before they lose the goodwill of the people and things go rapidly downhill? Yes, I just, that's what I've been saying for the past few days, and you're absolutely right, Philip. These measures, even those who watch this channel who are in favor of these measures because we want to be cautious in the name of public health, this is not how you deal with the British public. You are now losing the trust, and they're not going to follow the measures. It's getting worse and worse. The police need to just calm down. The government needs to have a chat with the police force or forces across the country to tell them to change their tack, because it doesn't really work. Going after innocent people who haven't actually done anything wrong isn't the way to do it. If you want to scare people, you're using your daily briefings with Matt Hancock. Keep doing that if you want to do that. But that's not how you actually get the public to follow your guidance. George says, hi Maya, question for you. What are your views on our political system only being made up of two main parties that carry any weight in our system? Yes, the whole left and right thing in the next 10 years. The political system we have is not perfect because we don't have full democracy. We don't have direct democracy. We still have a constitutional monarchy. You don't elect governments, you elect MPs and parties. Until recently, the general left-right And by left-right, I don't really mean capitalist, socialist, conservative, Labour. I'm just talking about left-right, government, opposition. Technically has been working because this country, politically speaking, the political issues that we face, it's not complicated as opposed to other countries like in America. It's more complicated because they've got a lot of social issues, debates, and then economically and everything else, size of government. And so you could be a Republican, or you could be social liberal or conservative. You could be a Democrat, conservative, or liberal. In this country, the debate has always been about big government and small government. We don't really debate things like abortion, or they're not that big in terms of the British public appetite. So you can technically have your basic left and right, big government control on the left, and smaller government, personal responsibility, and more freedom on the right. But it's not happening because the two parties have gone just round the circle. We don't really know what's happening, but who's standing for what. The Tories are stealing Labour policies. Labour, since Blair, decided to steal some of the right-wing policies. And then you have all these other smaller alternative parties. It's all a bit of a mess. I think at this point, I am now in favour of some sort of reform. Not just necessarily the way we vote, but not the electoral system. Just the whole thing needs some sort of reform because the political parties are letting people down. So that's what I have for you guys. We are going to be doing our weekly video podcast with the members on Wednesday. I've already posted on the community tab on the channel. If you're a member, go check it out. If you're not a member, sign up, become a member, join our group, and join our community and get a lot of perks and benefits, including discounted merch, members Q&A, weekly video podcasts, and weekly video calls with the members as well. So check that out, and you get a discount for the merch. So if you do believe in person, get your merch. We still have about 19 days left until the end of January sales. Use the discount code Brexit10. The link is in the description. Get your latest merch. Thanks again for watching. I'm Tousi, and I'll see you guys in the next video.